welcome to another episode of Hippie-Fari Reggae Radio and Podcast. I'm your host, Scotty, the high-strung hippie. We're live at Omen Honey Studios in beautiful Daytona Beach, Florida. Now, we have got a special guest tonight coming straight out of Arizona's thriving reggae scene. He's a singer, guitar player, songwriter, and definitely a true example of the roots sound. So if you haven't heard their 2021 full-length 10-track album, Fidos and Unitas, you're definitely missing out on some serious reggae. Also, the track Mary Loves Me, it's a standout track featured on Skylar Lute's 2023 album, Never Leaving, racking up nearly 43,000 plays on Spotify. So that's not love, it's definitely a movement. But here's what definitely sets our guest apart. ZeeCeeKeely, the band, and ZeeCeeKeely. Not every artist can pull off a dub track, a reggae dub track. And ZeeCeeKeely nails that one. Dub the ganja. They can definitely lay down that dub fire. It's got that deep bass, the hypnotic echoes, all the good qualities that make a dub track a good dub track. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and read off some real short lyric. It's not about the money, it's not about the fame. That's from Under the Sun lyrics. That definitely says it all. I've known ZeeCeeKeely for probably about 3.5 years now. I know what they put into it. It's definitely heart. It's definitely soul. It's not about the money. It's not about the fame. They are true to getting the message out there and sharing the conscious lyrics with the masses. So I'd like to welcome ZeeCeeKeely to the show of ZeeCeeKeely.
Yo, what is good?
Hey, Zach, what's going on, man? How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself, man?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Something that I don't think I've really done before. Before I get into the questions or anything, I just really want the people to hear the song. It's awesome, man. It's got all the elements of just a kick-ass reggae track, and I feel like it'll kind of set the tone. Zach doesn't even know what track I'm going to play, but this is definitely something that I want the people to hear to get this show started right. Here we go. Here's Protest, ZeeCeeKeely and Kareem Israel. That is fire.
Every time I see the fear in your eyes, every time I hear the shame in your lies, there's a change in the world and it's not for the best. First you got the rich and then you got the rest. But we're all here on this planet, trying to divide, though it's not how we planned it. When we were young, the world looked so nice and easy. Now there's not enough love around to please me. Protest our rights.
All right. You kind of get the gist. I absolutely love that track. The way that it comes in, it's the build up and then the drop into the music is just, it's absolutely fantastic. So,
I Thank you, man.
Absolutely, man. I'm sure you would.
That was a really fun track to work on too, especially with Kareem.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, that's awesome. That's definitely a blessing right there.
What was funny about that one, like as opposed to other feature tracks that I've done before, is he sent me just his vocal track raw by itself. Like other artists will kind of do their own harmonies and stuff like that and kind of mix it themselves. But he sent a really raw track of just his voice doing the verses, which allowed me to go in the studio and actually lay my own harmonies with his voice and you know, kind of add those effects and mix it the way we wanted to into the song. So
no, that's absolutely awesome, man. Yeah, so it kind of leads me to this quick question. Then, whenever you're doing a collab, especially with a bigger artist like that, have you found that they definitely work with you, you know, and your musical styles, or is it kind of this is my way with some of them?
It's never been that with any of them.
That's
They
awesome.
really just, I send them a song to see if they even like it, and then they, with a space in there that they get to play with, and they usually just hit me back up saying they love the tune and that they know, you know, they have ideas of what they can do with it. And then next thing you know, they send me a track just with their vocals. So I never really fully know what they're gonna do with it. I never give them direction other than like listen to the song, you know. Sometimes they'll have me send them the lyrics so they can read the lyrical content of it and
Right.
understand like what message they're gonna write along with it too.
Right. Oh yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, definitely a round of applause for Kareem Israel, man. Right on.
Got the applause track and everything.
Yeah, oh yeah, man. You gotta love it. Awesome, man. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. Just, I know some people are probably wondering this. ZeeCeeKeely is from the beautiful state of Arizona. And, you know, reggae definitely originates from deep cultural and historical roots. So how does being based in Arizona, which is a place not really associated with reggae, how did that influence your sound and your approach to the genre itself?
I definitely have my own kind of take on it, and being from Arizona, obviously we're not by any kind of water, we're not by anything like that, but like I've always been a real lyrical person, and reggae is what, you know, captured me like as a genre musically because of its lyrical content. And being in Arizona, I realized that the connection of how cultural reggae music is, and Arizona is a very cultural place in itself. We have a lot of native culture here, a lot of Native American,
Sure.
you know, just everything. The art is super native, just the way the buildings are made and everything, the food. And so
Food,
it's really
man.
just it's really just like kind of that universal connection of culture in itself, and
Sure.
and going back to the roots of our area, you know. Though it's not the roots of reggae, it's still the roots of our ancestors and the roots of, you know, where we come from, and the struggles all people
Yes.
have had to go through, and the hardships people, especially minorities, natives, and stuff like that, have had to endure over the course of history and time. We can connect with that very much too, being, you know, having a little native blood myself in the family and being surrounded by natives. You know, there's a lot of similarities in how, you know, we were treated and stuff through the course of history, and
Sure.
having land stolen, and, you know, so there's a lot of those deep connections within. Like I found lyrical connections even with the message of reggae within the culture of Arizona and the native past it carries too. So,
Very nice. I know that you had said that you had some Native American blood. That's awesome. I have a deep fascination with Native American culture. Everything from the culture itself to the attire to absolutely love turquoise. It's fantastic, and I know it's all over the place out there. So that's very cool, man.
I wear that silver and turquoise ring around everywhere that people are always like, wow, look at that.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful stuff, man. 100%. And I know that you blend reggae with some different musical elements. What are the unexpected influences, like outside of reggae, that have helped shape your playing style and songwriting style? Sorry.
My influences draw from everywhere. So when I was really little, my aunt was a drummer, so I started drumming when I was really young. I was about 3 or 4 years old when she started putting me behind a drum set. And I would primarily listen to like classic rock, the same stuff my aunt, my mom, and stuff were listening to. So, you know, Pink Floyd, Zeppelin, and then it even get into some of the 80s stuff that they really like. Fleetwood Mac was a huge group that my whole family loved.
That's my wife's go-to, Fleetwood all day long, man. Stevie Nicks.
Fleetwood Mac is amazing. Like every member of that band, Lindsey Buckingham is such a unique guitar player.
Yep.
And his style is unmatched by anyone else. I've never seen anyone play like that guy does, like as far as the way he holds his hand and his fingers and everything.
Right.
So it's a trip seeing him play. But, and then after I started getting a little older, I started getting into like, you know, punk. I was a skater, so I started getting into like punk music.
I was huge into punk. Were you into the hardcore street punk, like Minor Threat and Bad Brains? I love all that stuff too,
definitely.
Man. Love it.
Definitely. There was this one really, really underground band that I listened to back in the day because I ran into like one of the members at a record store in town once. He was all decked out with a black vest with patches all over it and stuff. And he was like, I'm touring through town. And I was like, cool, what's your band name? It's a funny name. It was called Pull Out Quick. That was the name of the group. And I ended up looking them up, and it's just super like really garage quality recording. But I loved it. Like I was like, man, this is like some real punk sounding.
Oh yeah, man, 100%.
Cool, you know?
Butt trumpet, Crass, all that stuff, man. I loved it all. That's cool, man.
So then after punk, I started to mellow out a bit more. Started to get into my like sensitive side, and it completely took a turn more into like the indie alternative, like emo music, acoustic music, stuff like Never Shout Never and
Sunny Day Real Estate and all that.
Yeah, stuff like that, exactly. Cool. And then I started, listening. Obviously, Sublime was already in the mix from years as a child. I was, they were always like a ska punk band to me. And even the slower songs to me, I was like, I like that sound. I was still really drawn to the slower, more reggae sounding tracks that they did. So Sublime was always a part of my soundtrack.
Were you a fan of Operation Ivy?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Man, huge. Still in rotation.
Operation Ivy was awesome. Yeah, for sure. Less Than Jake's another fun one.
Yeah, Skank and Pickle, all that fun stuff, man. Yeah, it's really good stuff.
And then as like I've been listening, as I've gotten even older too, I mean, I've listened to classic artists my whole life, but I started getting real deeper into like, Stevie Wonder.
Okay.
And, some of the more like soul, influenced like multi-genre artists and stuff like that. So
yeah, I'm a huge Billy Ocean fan.
Nice.
Yeah, Billy Ocean and Lionel Richie.
Lionel.
Yeah, man, when they sing those love ballads, it's like, dang, you can't beat it, man. You're like, this is gonna make her fall in love with me.
Yeah, and there's just something about music with soul, man.
Sure.
It's something that like when you can feel. I'm super empathetic. So I'm a huge empath. I feel energies like crazy.
That's
like
beautiful.
If someone's got a certain energy in the room, like I'll feel that energy.
All right, cool, dude. I have another podcast. I already know that you're gonna be on then. Yeah, you're definitely speaking my language.
It's super like energies and stuff like that. And music helps me feel those different energies too. So.
Amen. That's beautiful. So then that's kind of you just kind of gave us a little insight on probably something that affects you. Then if you use music and the energy modalities, and that's got to affect your writing, your playing, your stage presence, everything. Which is probably why it's ZeeCeeKeely. When you listen to the music, it's got a more serious vibe. Like when you're listening to punk, Minor Threat had the serious vibe. The Dead Milkmen had the funny vibe. Bad Religion had the where atheists stand up and protest in the street vibe. But ZeeCeeKeely definitely carries forth more of that conscious, serious vibe, and I'm sure a lot of the reason why is because of what you just said. You're an empath, and you that filters out into your music, which is that's awesome, man.
It's just carrying the energies from the world, everything that's going on around us right now. It's very hard to not feel it. you know?
Sure.
And it's easy to express it through that art form.
Yes, yeah, we definitely believe there's a shift going on. You can definitely feel it, but in my spiritual life too, I you can just there's definitely something going.
Yeah.
So while some reggae artists focus on social justice, which are my favorites, because reggae was written for revolution. I'm an ex-Marxist, anarchist. Still not a huge fan of the government, but I used to be involved in that. So I've always loved everything that was, music with a political base that had a social justice base. And then there's the other ones.
The government.
Yeah, amen, dude, 100%. Yep.
Fuck the government. They're evil, corrupt. The whole system's twisted, and if anyone thinks that we actually have any say in it, I can't see that. I don't believe it anymore. So.
Nah, me either. I heard an amazing quote. Fascism is in its most advanced form right here in the United States of America, but we don't realize it, which is why it's in its most advanced form.
Yeah, it's just baffling to me that people can't see the obvious things that are happening that are so wrong. But
I think people maybe don't want to. I know my mother, for example, when I would talk to her, I asked, if I could disprove, Western religion or anything like that, would you give me 5 minutes to do it? And she said no. And my thought process is, because if I did prove her right, then she would have to realize that she had been living, well, not a lie, but just living like something false. And a lot of people don't want to, so it's easier to bury your head in the sand. But and
that's funny. I see that everywhere too. Like even with the flat Earth idea. Like, to me,
I love flat Earth.
If it came, I don't believe that Earth is flat, but even if it did,
me either. I just like
even if it did come out like one day, like clear evidence, like this is what it is. It actually is flat. I would not be upset that I wouldn't feel like I was lied to this whole time.
Right.
I would just be like, well, there's still so much that we haven't discovered yet.
Yes.
And, maybe the ways we thought we were discovering it at first were just the wrong methods, and they didn't want to seem as dumb as they are or something, but I'm not going to fucking be like, oh my God, it's been this huge conspiracy. We were right the whole time with flat or whatever.
Right.
It's like, it is what it is. It's not going to affect my day-to-day. I'm still going to get up in the morning, and I still got to go to work and pay my bills, whether it's a globe or a plate, it doesn't matter.
But the people that do see change going on, and the people that do, subscribe to the conscious lyrics and do see, what's going on, we are actually called conspiracy theorists, idiots by mainstream media to discount all that. So most people who don't want to look any further, that's just kind of what they write it off as. People. Yeah, we're definitely being told the truth.
Well, I mean, other than the fact that reggae musicians primarily like to stay independent, there's also a big reason why there's not any reggae on the mainstream radio platforms and stuff.
Right?
Like
that, It's a music written for revolution, by people who wanted that, to bring oppressed communities together. Yeah, absolutely.
We'd rather play on a pirate radio,
Amen. Or on a podcast.
Exactly.
So. I could definitely answer this question, but for the people listening, on the spectrum of social justice, spiritual, or just kind of feel-good vibes, where do you find ZeeCeeKeely falling back, or what? I mean, maybe all three? Are you more social justice and then spiritual, or I hate for I'm not saying label it, just kind of because the lyrics are definitely serious, so.
Yeah, definitely social justice is a big part of my lyricism.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many things in this world that, like, to make it as simply said as I possibly can put it is, like, I wish everyone could just live and let live.
Right. Yeah.
Everyone can have their own beliefs and feel the way they feel without trying to make everyone else around them feel the way that they want to feel. And I don't expect anyone to take my music or my messages and believe it. I'm not trying to convince anyone that I'm right with my songs or that that you need to listen to me and disregard everything else.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, the world would be much better and much happier. There'd be a lot less violence and anger if people were willing to like accept that other people are going to be different and have different beliefs without trying to make others feel or think the same way you feel.
Right. And to me, I think, and I'm not trying to go too far off track, but I think your organized religions have a huge impact on the reason that it is that way. You know,
100%.
Yeah, you had people over here trying to convert people. You have to believe this way, or you're gonna burn in hell. You know, it's my dad was a Southern Baptist minister, and I was raised. You go out and you tell every single person you know about about this, and that they have to believe this, or they're gonna, So if you're brought up in that, you're spent your entire life telling people that what they're doing is wrong, or them being different is wrong. And it's crazy.
Organized religion is that's again, I don't want to stray too far off topic, but that's it's a whole, that's a whole other thing as far as like what's caused a lot of the problems of history,
Yep, 100%. Another religion, another war.
Exactly. I'm 100% a spiritual person when it comes
myself
to
too.
I am there's so many possibilities in this universe that I can't just say one is what's going to happen. So
sure.
I rely more on Earth and the energies that I feel and hope maybe there's something after and beyond. Like, I hope it's not complete blackness. That sounds kind of freaky to me. But
so boring too, right?
Yeah, more boring than anything, honestly. It's not even that it's necessarily scary. I'm just like, that just sounds hella boring.
Yeah.
Be in a black purgatory forever. But other than that, that's the only thing that I really think about when it comes to that. I just kind of try to stay away from the organized anything like that. So.
Sure. Yeah. Myself too. It's just definitely been a little bit safer.
That's another. When I had locks, a lot of people would assume that I was a Rastafarian, and
right.
I'm like, none of my lyrics are Rasta, I don't preach anything Rasta, because there's a whole religion behind that, and I don't want to, preach something that I don't live. Because a lot of people do that too. There's a lot of people who, don't practice what they preach. So.
Well, I did name the reason I named my podcast Hippie-Fari, I'm not Rastafarian, but I wanted people to get the feel of what I was trying to do, and it was, it worked together. Hippie, that's my lifestyle. Fari for Rastafari. But we're definitely in the Eastern religion aspect. I do love obviously the reggae music. I love the message. I love everything about the religion. I'm not as well either. So I definitely see where you're coming from with that. And I miss my dreads too. I'm actually getting them back. So I swear to God, if I ever get a job where I could grow them back, I would, and I am. So.
I just cut mine off in December. I've been growing them for a few years, and I cut them off to donate them.
Oh, that's awesome, man!
I'm not sure if I'm gonna grow them back again right now. I'm just not in this chapter of my life. I've grown them out twice, so that was the second time I've done it. So I could wake up one day again and just be like, I want to do it again, and that's kind of what happened the second time when I was like, I want them again. So who knows?
Yeah,
I could have them again one day, but I'm not. I'm just trying to. I like my hats, man.
Hats.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've always been a hat guy. So
I was a restaurant manager, and I got promoted, so I had to shave them off, and now I have a job where I can grow them back. So who knows, man? But I do love them. Something real quick though. How do you approach songwriting? Do you start with a melody? You kind of strike me as a guy that has lyrics in mind, but do you start with a melody or rhythm, or is it more about the message first?
It depends.
Oh, okay.
It's gone every way. So there's been times where I just have a humming, a beat and a melody in my head, and I'm just ooh, I think I can make something out of that.
Right.
And then I'll kind of I have this little band lab app on my phone that I can just make cheesy beats and ideas with, just to kind of get it out of my brain and onto something to listen to. So sometimes I'll just create little melodies like that and build a whole song without any words, and then sometimes I'll even forget about creating these whole songs and come back later on through my list of recordings and click on them and be like, oh yeah, that's a cool one, and then turn it into a song later. In which case, this now we're going to go into the lyric aspect of it. There are definitely times where I'll be cruising somewhere or working or even just sitting at home, and lines will just start flowing into my head.
No, that's nice, man.
And then I'll just jot them down. Sometimes the words even come with a melody, like in my head, like the way the lyric or like a specific line comes into my head. It'll kind of already be at like a little bit of a melody that I build off of.
Okay.
But sometimes it's completely separate. Sometimes there's no melody to it. It's kind of just like a poetry of words that I hear, and then I'll jot them down. And then sometimes it's just like a hybrid of both. I'll find some of my lyrics that I've written down somewhere forever ago and go through some of those beats that I've created and see if I can't just use those lyrics for that specific beat. And if it maybe not be exact, like adjust the lyrics to fit the beat or the melody. Like add a couple lines or split up a verse into 2 different verses and add a couple lines or something, you know?
Right.
So there's all different kinds of ways they build. But usually once a song is like kind of the sound of a song with the lyrical structure is already in my head, I usually won't stop until that full song is created. I'll just keep going at it until it's done.
So have you started off writing a song with one intention and then it completely just took a opposite turn and ended up something completely different of what you thought from the beginning?
No, definitely. Yeah, definitely. That's happened, I think, to most writers. But
oh, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I've written one verse down or even a couple verses down, and actually there's been times where I'm like, I really like the verse of this that I wrote down, but I think it would fit better in this song. And
yes.
So there's been times where I've had a full sheet of lyrics written out that I intended to be one song, but I was like, well, this second part of it doesn't necessarily, it can be its own thing, you know, the lyrical content of it might not fully match the first half of the song, so I can split that into 2 different songs or split those lyrics off and then rewrite the second half of the part that I want to keep, or vice versa, you know?
I like it, man. Absolutely. Yeah, letting nothing go to waste, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, reggae definitely has deep roots in Jamaica. Its roots are in Jamaica, but it's definitely spread globally, which I love.
Yeah.
Do you see regional differences in reggae from place to place? And how would you describe the Arizona reggae scene community?
I definitely see differences. When you get closer to beaches, waterfront towns, you're going to get more variety closer to the tropical sound, that beach sound, the surfer sound, right?
Yep, 100%.
Out here, you definitely got a lot more of that, like, ghetto hood.
Right. 808 bass.
Yeah, ghetto hood stuff, kind of like, you know, super, so there's a lot of artists who are very Sublime influence. So, like, you know, kind of a little bit more grittier, a little dirtier. Some of them have that, they'll have a couple punk tunes and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's Arizona. The roots aspect of Arizona has there's definitely just a small handful of us who, you know, stick to that more rootsy side.
Sure.
Out of you know, the group of us who are thriving and continuing to grind at it. A lot of the other groups that are coming out of Arizona, ZeeCeeKeely isn't necessarily, we kind of are in our own spectrum compared to, you know, like Urban Life and the Irie. I love those dudes.
Yeah.
The many shows with those dudes.
Yep.
You know, we're kind of in a different spectrum than them as far as like the kind of shows we do. We get asked to do a lot more roots events. We've opened up for a lot of roots legends and stuff like that. And the Irie's done a lot of great shows too. Urban Life has done a lot of great shows too. Opened up for a lot of the similar artists and stuff over time. But I think everyone can kind of agree, even then, if they were to lay us all out, you know, we kind of being a little bit separate of a category from them as far as our style goes.
Absolutely. And I've actually heard from Heather and Bobby McQuaig that the Irie, the lead singer, he said he wrote them a song, and it was absolutely hysterical about his stay at their house.
Yeah, we were there.
Yeah.
We all stayed there. That was a really fun time.
Yeah, like 14 days. Yeah, I just did a podcast for Three Little Birds. It's out. Heather's supposed to be on. I hope she's on. She was going to listen as an audience. Remember, but she had just amazing stuff to say about you and how you gave her a lot of insight on getting the Three Little Birds Bandcamp started.
That's an incredible idea. Like when I first started touring, and it's still a thing that we encounter while touring on the road. You know, a lot of these venues aren't paying up and coming artists like what they should be getting paid, and that's any art form. It's hard. It's hard as an up and coming artist to get paid what you deserve to get paid. You know, so.
And speaking of that, real quick, speaking of the Bandcamp, I'm gonna throw on a quick sponsor blurb real quick. We'll be right back in 2 seconds. When you have a second, hop on over to Facebook and visit threelittlebirdsbandcamp.com. That's the word 3, THREE, littlebirdsbandcamp.com. It is a place that helps touring reggae musicians find cost-free lodging. So go ahead and visit threelittlebirdsbandcamp.com and sign up to be a host today. Also, check out Sunsplash Farms. Best local, raw, organic, unfiltered, pure honey you've ever had in your entire life. Based out of New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Sunsplashfarms.com. We ship worldwide. Awesome, right on. That's our sponsors, Three Little Birds Bandcamp and Sunsplash Farms. Really good stuff, man, 100%. But yeah, that's very cool, and I'm glad that you said that because I think everybody should know, or you know, every band in the reggae scene should know, every touring reggae band, and it's awesome.
One of the biggest costs, you know, gas, lodging, you know, getting from town to town and having a place to stay every night is such a huge, it eats into your budget so much because lodging, hotels, last minute especially, or even if you book in advance, shit's just through the roof expensive just for a night to crash, you know?
Yeah.
And when you're already making so little, like traveling and putting so much into just getting from town to town, to have people offer a place to stay is like one of the biggest blessings an artist can get on the road because it saves them so much money and it takes a lot of stress off of their shoulders. And it's over the years we've encountered a few people who've opened their doors in different states for us to stay in when we're there, and I can imagine the amount of money we've saved just knowing them over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you just do the basic math, I mean, 10 nights at 4 guys, yeah, I mean, you're getting the thousands. Yeah, it's crazy. So they definitely don't make it easy, and I know what bands get paid. Once you're done splitting it up and you get your Taco Bell or your Wawa and you get your hotel room, you have zero.
Exactly. And that's pretty common to not have anything by the end of the night, even after you put in a night of work.
Encourage people buy merch at shows. You know, it might be a little more expensive, but there's a reason for that. It's because that's what puts gas in the car and gets the bands across country.
Yeah, merch can be our saving grace. If a venue only decided to pay us $100 for the night, if we sold $300-400 worth of merch, it makes for a win that night for us. So it's like, you know, there's a lot of little things that add up that help at the end, but every little thing that people offer that is a huge blessing. It helps us out a lot, and it's cool to have a community of people who support artists so much.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. That's why I love it so much. And speaking of the Three Little Birds and touring, I know reggae definitely has a strong live performance culture. What's been your most memorable show, and what made it stand out? What was, awesome about it?
Oh, man, that's one of those tough questions because I love so much of the experiences that I've had as far as shows and stuff go. One of the biggest ones that hits for me is probably when we got to open directly for Steel Pulse right here in Tucson.
Oh, wow.
It was just us and Steel Pulse were the only bands on the bill, plus DJ Jamar, he played in between during the stage setup and whatnot. But just to have us and Steel Pulse in a really old legendary venue here in Tucson was just a really cool experience to share. Opening up for Stephen Marley and Mike Love in Phoenix was a really amazing experience too.
Oh wow, that had to be amazing. Mike Love is absolutely incredible, man. 100%.
One of my favorites. I've done probably 5 or 6 shows with him over the course of time now, and he's probably one of the nicest
Oh, I'm sure.
people I've got to share the stage with. He's so humble and
100%.
he's so willing to just sit and talk to you about music and everything.
He practices what he preaches, right?
He definitely does. He's one of those real artists out there that I really look up to as far as like he's doing what I wish more would do. You know?
You know who else is? I'm trying to remember his name right now. It's but the lead singer, guitar player of Treehouse. I'm trying to remember his name, but he's another one.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of the name right now.
Not personal friends or anything, but just my interaction with him and his demeanor, his attitude, and seeing how he is. You can tell that he's just one of those that also is, his lyrics are very conscious, and he kind of lives what he sings.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Cultivated Mind?
Yeah.
Out of Virginia. We're talking about Mike Love. We're talking about the looping. He's another one that's absolutely phenomenal. That's definitely an art on its own.
Yeah, definitely.
100%, man.
Yeah, I wish if I had the budget to get one of those nicer looper pedals, because like to have a real good loop setup, definitely like you need to drop a good coin on it for it to work like without having to like double tap and triple tap your pedal a bunch of times to make it work, which makes it harder for timing and all that stuff. I'd rather have like what I like about some of the ones they use is there'll be like 5 or 6 individual tracks, and each one you can loop them separately and pause them separately and stuff like that. Which if I had something like that, I could probably have a bit of fun with the looping. But those guys just are insanity with it. The thing that Mike Love does when he splits up the not just words but like syllables and words to do that. It's like that's half of a word that he's saying at first, and then it ends up being a full sentence. And it's not only that, it's in the rhythm of what would typically be like the keyboard part. So it's doing that keyboard skank, but his vocals it's just fucking. When I first saw that, I was like, God, I can't.
That YouTube video in that apartment, is that it was him and the percussionist? Yeah, I know. I was sitting here and with my wife and my buddy Mikey, and the first time we saw it years ago, and we're just like, oh my God. That was insane.
And then you get into his catalog of other music, and you're just like, especially as a musician, studying the way he puts these melodies together, even with the full band, I'm just like, holy cow, this dude's got a really creative mind with how he breaks up these melodies and time signatures, and these notes that he chooses to go into are very like, whoa, I did not expect you to go that way with it, but it works so well. Yeah. And
I love his message. I'm not a vegan, I'm vegetarian, but I like his message on compassion too. It's really, like I said, his lyrics are just conscious. It's really neat. I definitely love Mike Love. So I can't imagine anyone listening not knowing who Mike Love is, but if you don't, go to YouTube Mike Love. It's a video of him and another percussionist in an apartment setting. It's about 10 minutes long.
Permanent Holiday.
Permanent Holiday. Yeah. That's it. Yep, definitely watch that. So, and your lyrics 100%. I can answer this question myself, but have you had a moment where you could tell a song of yours really connected with someone like on a deeper level, a fan or maybe a family member, maybe a band member, or someone literally took your lyrics to heart and was like, wow, I feel that, man.
So there's been a few instances in the history of since I started releasing music where I was kind of like blown back by like some of the responses I've gotten from people to my music in a positive way. Within like the first year that we started releasing music, I ended up getting hit up by someone like New York City. Just messaged me on like the band page or something and was just like, hey, I just wanted to let you know that I play your track in my kitchen every night when we're closing and cleaning up the kitchen. Like, I just want to let you know that we really love that song. We play it every night while we're closing. And I'm just like,
oh, that's awesome,
sitting over here in Arizona going, some fucking dude in New York City is listening to my song in his kitchen right now? That's pretty wild to me.
That is very cool. Hell yeah.
And then, within the next year or so, I got hit up from people like in the Philippines and other parts of the world saying like they love my music and how much it touches them and moves them and stuff like that. I started getting like international messages from people who just wanted to express that they love listening to the music and that they're fans. And I've had people order merch internationally and send me pictures of them wearing it, and sending pictures of them slapping a ZeeCeeKeely sticker in Thailand or something like that. You know, it's like crazy stuff like that. But I've definitely also had those moments where I'm on stage and I'm playing a more serious song or a slower song, or sometimes I'll do a real just me and a guitar version of a redemption song at a show.
Yeah, amen.
And you know, and when people start crying or getting emotional in the crowd, that's a very powerful feeling. And then usually they'll approach me after the show and give me a big embrace and a hug, and they'll express to me that they, you know, had a feeling that they either haven't felt in a long time from a live show, or something they needed to hear in that moment, like they had someone pass away on them recently or something, and they were just like, I really needed this moment and I needed this night. Those moments definitely really hit me deep in the soul. Like those are the kind of moments that make me like, this is why I'm doing this, you know?
Yes.
Because even if it's one person that's feeling this way because of it, that makes me feel really good.
Amen. And I can definitely relate to that. That's why I'm an open book on social media. That I share the fact that I quit drinking 8 months ago and what I went through, and you know, self-love and all that. I've had thank you, man. I've had people that hit me back up though, and like, you know, that post that you made really made me think. You know, it's because of that I'm gonna quit, or I'm gonna look at it, or something. If it's just one person, then the job is done. You know, if you can change one person's life, or you know, be a positive impact on somebody, you've definitely done your job, and that's, you know, that's what music does. But yes, it's definitely nice to know that people are listening, and that it's going beyond just, you know, you playing out at a club and people having a couple beers. You know, somebody's actually listening to your music, and it's invoking positive changes in their life. That's an amazing thing, man.
Yeah.
So if you could jam with any musician, and I hate to use the word dead, it sounds so awful, but here with us now or not with us now, who would it be, and what song would you want to play with them? Now, I'll answer this one too, but I'm curious because you know, you came from the punk background, and so I mean, it could be anybody. I'm kind of curious who this is.
All right. So honestly, and I think I've been thinking about this one since the last time someone asked me this question too. But I think to play a song with Stevie Wonder, and actually be able to like play it and sing it with him would be an incredible, legendary experience in my heart and in my mind. I think Stevie Wonder is one of those artists who genres all across the board, style all across the board, vocal abilities are just mind-blowing to me, songwriting abilities. It's just incredible instrumentation in all of his music. I think it would just be awesome to do. If I were to do any song with him too, I think I'd probably do Master Blaster. I don't know if you know that one.
No.
But it's kind of more of it's got like a reggae, like 4 on the floor, step a beat, you know.
Cool.
More reggae influence. He even sings about Marley in the song, but it's just a really cool song, awesome horn section, like just cool guitar part, everything about it's really cool.
You heard it first on Hippie-Fari Reggae Radio and podcast. Zach, it'd be amazing you could do this. You know that song by Billy Ocean, Suddenly? That suddenly life has new meaning to me. Anyway,
it sounds familiar. I'd have to hear this. The song.
That is
big. Oh,
that's the perfect track to be rewritten in the reggae vibe. Perfect roots reggae vibe. Yep. But it's got everything. It's got the soul. I mean, it's Billy Ocean, so he was him and Lionel are.
There's a fun one I'm working on as far as like, so I do like to take classic like rock songs and other types of songs and try to reggae-ize them. Ska-ize them.
Yep.
And I always love the idea of doing like an old school kind of ska sounding version of Land of Confusion.
Oh, nice.
Genesis.
Land of Confusion. Chink, chink.
Yeah,
that would be good.
Yeah. You know, that's like tink.
Yeah, that would be great, man.
Can hear the news today.
And you could throw the horns.
Yeah, with the horns. Yeah, exactly.
That would be great, man. Yeah, or you know, sometimes they will replace the lyrics with where the horn will make the sound of the lyrics like that would be awesome.
Yeah.
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 Wow, that's got ska written all over it, dude.
Yeah. I've already like played with it a bit structurally, like so. Like I think it's something we'll bring to fruition at one point as a band, just for fun at shows. But like,
oh hell yeah, that'd be great.
Cool.
Speaking of ska, I have a pretty funny story. I worked with this kid. His name was Jacob. I used to dive in marinas and clean boat bottoms. He worked for the detailing company I did. Said he went to school, had a degree in music, and not got into it, but tried to convince me that ska, it wasn't ska if it didn't have horns, and it wasn't around until the 80s. And I was trying to explain to him that it was the precursor to reggae. That's where reggae from. It was like the Scotty in the 50s.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was hard. But he was 15 years younger than me, so I don't know where he got his music degree from. But
well, he probably has the idea of
like the voodoo glow skulls, like, yeah.
Yeah, you know, the more, and then even up to like when you get up to like Streetlight Manifesto, and the really like fast ska,
right,
super upbeat ska, almost on the verge of being punk ska.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, which I loved, like the Voodoo Glow Skulls, they're good old ska punk. But I had to show him
in a minute.
Oh, they're great, a lot of fun. But when I showed him, he was like, he was kind of amazed. He was like, "Oh, this is ska." I was like, "Yeah, you know, ska rock steady than reggae." But yeah, I do. Is there a big ska scene in AZ?
There is not a huge ska scene right now. There's this really, really badass band out of Tucson right now, a ska band, like something that you'd hear in a freaking Tony Hawk game. Like they just got that classic like punk ska sound.
Sure. Yep.
They're called Swigfoot. If you ever get a chance, look them up. Swigfoot. They use cool. They use like a Bigfoot is like their mascot. Like so they have Bigfoot in all their pictures and stuff like that. And we actually I just did a show with them the other night. Really fun ska. They got like 4 horns on stage, fucking like super full, like yeah.
That's nice.
Like yeah, check them out.
What's your favorite horn in the horn section? Mine is the trombone. When it takes a pop, yeah,
yeah. Yeah, that's always fun.
I love that.
I've always been a sexy saxophone guy. Yeah. Like I don't know, there's something that I'm sure everyone goes for the saxophone, but like this, we have a really awesome sax player that's recorded on all our tracks who is just incredible. He's his name's Trey.
Yes.
He's a jazz player who plays with a lot of the jazz, trios and stuff here in town. He's played on stages with jazz legends too.
He actually kills it on Under the Sun.
Yeah. Everything he's done horn-wise for us, I can't wait to share a lot of the new album because like the stuff he did with that and horns is just it's even leveled us up even more. So
get over to YouTube, check out ZeeCeeKeely Under the Sun official music video. It's fantastic. You can see the horn player that he is, or the sax player that Zach is referring to. It's a great song, great video. Definitely enjoy it. So I want to go on the best route. Can I ask you a couple more of fun questions, and then I'll round it off with a couple of things that I kind of want to know. So reggae is known for its positive energy, but do you have any songs that come from a place of struggle or introspection? I'm not asking you to get personal, but something like for example, myself, if I was a songwriter, well, I am a songwriter, but I wrote the song "Bless the Water" for my mom, or working on one now about the struggle with alcoholism. Do you use or the tracks that you're working on now? Is that kind of about your life and struggles that you personally have been through?
There's definitely like some of them, our personal experiences. Like you'll hear a couple songs on a new album when it comes out that are totally about exes and a couple of breakup songs, but they're also worded in a way that you can connect it. Like I have this one that's going to be coming out called True Colors.
Okay.
And it's totally it was originally written about an ex that just turned out to be an awful person. But after playing the song so many times, and after a couple of years of playing it and performing it and knowing the song, I'm like, this fucking song can be like tied to so many different aspects of life, whether it's a crappy boss or someone you thought was a really good friend or something like that. It's not just a breakup song, even though it was written out of a breakup, you know. So there's moments like that, examples like that.
Yeah, 100%. I got a question. I just said 100%? Did you hear an echo?
I didn't.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah, I'm just making sure. That's the last thing I want. Me talking twice. So, and when's the new album coming out? I know you're working on that. I was going to ask you what you were really, some future plans you're really excited about. So, when's the new album dropping?
Or
do you have a date yet? No.
Yeah, I don't have a drop. I mean, it's unfortunate that I don't have a drop date yet because it's been a long time coming. We've had the album almost done for a long time now, and there's just been obstacles throughout time, whether it be finances or so much traveling and so much congested traveling that we haven't had the time to put into it as much as we wanted. On top of working and paying the bills too, but we have a whole group of songs recorded. They just need some final touches on a few of them as far as mixing goes, that we're just really excited to release. As far as like the first album kind of introduced people to like what our message is,
right,
and what our sound is, but the second album that we're releasing, Fighters and United, but the second album that we're releasing is going to be called From Dark to Light. The reason why it has that name is because some of the songs were written when I was going through some really dark times in my life.
Well, there you go. I just answered the question that I just asked. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then up to some really happy and bright times and things that make me feel good about life. So we've got some awesome features that we're going to be that I did collab with on this album.
Nice.
I don't know if you've heard of Uji Wawa is one of them. I think he's even, I don't know if he's from New York or down in the Florida area. I know he's East Coast though.
Nice. It's funny that you mentioned New York. This is the second time you were talking about the kid in the kitchen listening to your track, and then this guy. Have you ever heard of Sundub out of Brooklyn?
Sundub, that sounds really
Sundub. They have a female vocalist. They're very, very good. It's a place you wouldn't think. Once again, a reggae band would come out of Brooklyn, but then you have the Elevators, from Mass. So
yeah.
Well,
I had a buddy from New York. I don't know if he's actually. I don't remember if Brendan was from New York or if he's from Chicago, but he goes by the name Kaya Yiwe or Kaya Yiwai. He's done a couple feature tracks. I did a feature track with him called City Lights.
Okay.
If you get a chance, check it out. ZeeCeeKeely and Kaya Yiwai. Really good song with a great horn section. But he hit me up one day out of the East Coast, and he's just like, "Yo, I make these rhythms, and he's like, I have a horrible singing voice myself, so I like to reach out to my favorite artists and see if they're willing to write lyrics for the song and record lyrics. So I just send them the rhythm and see if they're down to write words and sing on it." And he sent me a really cool track with this awesome horn section, and it just reminded me of a big city, even because I don't know if I don't remember if he's from New York or Chicago. I'll have to double check, but the sound of it reminded me of that big city, old like time kind of like Broadway feel a little bit.
100%.
So that just stems back to I love working with collaboration art. Like I love doing collaborations and working in different styles. Someone will send me a rhythm from the East Coast and it's totally different feel and sound than what I'm working with on the West Coast. And I love that.
100%. Do you have a preference, or just it's? And I just played a little bit of the beginning of that song, and I could with it where it started out with the horns. I could definitely see the what you're talking about with being reminiscent of the big city and the lights. Sounded like then intro to a movie from the 70s or something like that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you're do you have a preference of like you said, the rhythms will come from one coast or another? Is there, or just whatever time it is.
Preference.
No preference. Cool.
It's all about feeling.
Beautiful.
It's all about if the song feels great, and I'll know right away. I won't even get 30 seconds into the song before I know I can write something to this. Like I just feel it, you know.
Something that I love is Hawaiian reggae. With that, you can definitely tell the Hawaiian influence. It's
so much soul. I love their vocal harmony abilities are always mind blowing to me.
Yes, yeah, it's neat. I love how they have taken, you know, their culture and added it. It's just it's a fantastic sound. I absolutely love it.
Opportunity. I don't know. A lot of island bands come to Arizona because there's a lot of islanders that live out in the desert for some reason. So like, every time any of the major islander bands comes through, like the Green or Common Kings, or you know, they're showing out in groves, and we've definitely been on one of the bands that's been asked to do a majority of those islander shows over the years. And so we've definitely got like our Arizona Islander followers too. We've got to do the show with some really cool people like Catch a Fire out of New Zealand are probably one of my favorite like Pacific Island band. And they are really humble people, and I've had the chance to hang out with some of them, and I got tattooed by the guitar player.
Oh, nice.
Really incredible artist. And just like love that again, like the harmony, vocal layers are just super soulful.
That's awesome. And I live in an RV right on the train tracks. If you guys heard the train ripping through, it is what it is. This is a free-form podcast, so until I can afford that professional podcast studio, you might get a train.
That's what happens, you know, when you live in a van down by the river.
Exactly, yeah. It is true, though. 100 live from the Port Orange police station.
Me and wifey have we definitely still want to get a small RV or a bigger van, and because I do a lot of solo shows too, so it's really easy for me to throw a PA in the back of a van and just me and her hit the road with a PA and a guitar, and I can book shows all over the country that way really easy, because in that aspect I don't have to split out, you know, to make sure I can pay out 5-6 other members and make sure everyone's got a place to sleep. You know, if I got a decent RV or a small or a decent van, like we'd be able to just crash wherever we needed to and go play our gigs. So it's definitely a goal of ours.
Yeah, you gotta love that. We had a house. It was just me and my wife, spending way too much money on it. Friend was selling a used RV, bought it 4 years ago, and it's fantastic. So, man, absolutely love it. Tight space, and then when I told some of my friends, I also set up a podcast studio in my living room. They were pretty impressed. So,
yeah, we have a tiny trailer in the neighborhood we live in. We got the smallest trailer here because me and her we're very minimalist. Like we need a place to sleep, place to go to the bathroom and clean ourselves up, and a place to make food, and a place to chill and play video games and watch TV. Like we don't need much more than that. So. The Home on Wheels has definitely been a thing we've been trying to get into for a while. It's all just about having the money to get the wheels.
That's it, man. Yeah, 100%. It's all about that. And a lot of them won't finance, so you have to have a ridiculous amount of cash to get the tiny home at first. So, yeah. So I'll go ahead and start kind of edging towards the closing, but I know that we definitely share the same interest when it comes to the conscious lyrics and the roots, why reggae music was created, you know, where it came from, its reasoning, and maybe some kind of straying from that. Do you feel like there's going to be a roots revival and the younger generation now? Because somebody has to tell the young kids, you know, that this stuff is out there. This is where it started. They have to be educated on it. How do you propose that we get that information to the younger generation so they are, you know, they're aware? Yeah, you know, hey, I like reggae. Well, you know, this is where reggae come from. This, you know, some of them might not even have heard the roots vibe before. I know for me, when you hear it, I get goosebumps. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is where it's at.
Yeah. I think it's on us as the artists to also make sure this young, like, if we get new fans or younger generations, we got to make sure that they know that like we wouldn't be where we're at if it wasn't for this guy or that guy, or you know, like when I'm doing shows, you know, we did a Marley tribute show around his birthday a couple of weeks back, and every cover we did all our originals too, but every cover we did was a Marley track,
Right.
you know, and I would explain to the crowd like why we play reggae and why we love Marley and why we respect him so much,
Yes,
and that
100%.
we wouldn't even be on that stage if it wasn't for him, you know, and the people who paved the way for us.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something again like that I wish that some of these newer artists would do. And I think the reason why they have a hard time doing it is because like they don't want to be roots artists because they have their style, they have their sound, so they don't want people to think that or expect them to produce anything along that style or you know.
Right.
They think they have their own style and a unique style of their own, and they just want that to be the spotlight.
Right.
Which is some kind of weird, even though every artist, I've never met an artist in the world that doesn't have influences from artists of the past. It would be weird if they didn't, you know?
Yeah, well, absolutely.
So it's like, it all stems to us as artists, just kind of, even if you don't play roots, like at least tip a hat to the roots artists that paved the way. Even if you don't listen to it, because there's a lot of people who, you know, you wouldn't have gotten into that style if someone that you listened to didn't get into that style, even if you didn't listen to that style or that artist.
Yeah, 100%.
It's still something down the line that you adapted from a certain place that has been adapted from somewhere, and you need to pay some kind of tip your hat to it at least, you know?
Absolutely. Well, you see the kids running around with Thrasher shirts on, or you know, like all these old school bands that were out when they weren't even old enough. Green Day. You know, you see like 12, 13-year-old kids. You know, all the throwback. I'm like, you know, that's, you know, that'll happen with the reggae. Yeah, it'll definitely come around. But the message when it first started is still just as valid today as it was when it was created. So yeah, it's you know, it's the struggle's still going on, the oppression is still going on, and roots reggae is a really, really, really good vehicle to be able to unite the people to fight against that. So
you know, if we have a platform, why not use it?
Yes,
like,
amen.
Especially in this day and age, everyone looks up to something, and this age of influencers, I would rather influence in a constructive way instead of just for the hell of it, you know?
Yep, absolutely. 100%, man. Well, so I know you're on all social media platforms. Do you have, is there a ZeeCeeKeely website, or say, I want some merch, I want a shirt. Actually, I do. That the Rasta color where it just says ZeeCeeKeely. Where can I get one of those?
So currently, I have the website is like it's under rebuild right now, basically. Okay. So we usually have a ZeeCeeKeely.com. So if you try to look that up right now, the domain won't pop up.
Okay.
That's in the works, so stay tuned. Physical merch, we have a whole line of stuff in the works right now. I got a bunch of new designs that I've been working on personally. I got into trying to figure out how to create some graphics myself.
Beautiful.
You know, so see how that resonates with people, if any of these designs are anything that people want to wear or anything like that. So there's a whole bunch of plethora of new stuff coming out.
Nice.
Give me the next, couple of weeks into the next couple months, and you're going to just be seeing all kinds of new information about us coming out. New website stuff, new merchandise stuff, new music singles be dropping soon, and stuff like that. So
I was actually on that tip. I had a clothing company that we had to cease and desist because a multi-million-dollar company with one name that was one word in their name that was the same as ours sued us, but or not sued us, they threatened to if we didn't cease and desist, which really sucked because I was working on the same thing, different clothing, wouldn't say options, but designs, my own thing, and I was really kind of stoked to see how it was going to turn out, and then boom. But we'll see. Maybe one day. So yeah, it's fun. Art on any level, and being able to express yourself is an absolute blast. So
Yeah, my mom was always very like visually artist. She can paint and airbrush and do all these crazy sculpting and stuff like that.
Nice.
And, I was always like, damn, I wish I could be a little bit more on the visual side. I can't draw things like she can. Like I look like a 4-year-old drawing, you know, compared to her work. So.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I rely on a lot of my ideas and my wife. I was taking my spiritual side, which is the Hinduism, and then the music, which I love, reggae, and putting like Ganesh with dreads, or Lord Shiva with a Rasta-colored sun behind him. You know, just kind of trying to fuse two worlds together. So we'll definitely see. So, but yeah, if it came down to me drawing it, absolutely not. So I'm a musician, but no paint or pencil over here. So. But and you are on all the social media platforms. If anybody needs to reach out or get a hold of you, what's a good email for you? If they want to hit you up for tour dates or.
Yeah, so I've been giving people just my straight up email, direct email to me, just because it's easier than going through like the band email and stuff like that, because it's hard to with the middleman and stuff like that. It's hard to get some messages fully all the way across sometimes. So it's Zach, ZACH 420 Keely, Keely at Gmail. So anyone can hit me up on there if they have any questions about booking or tour dates or merch or anything like that. Anyone can shoot me a message on that, and I'll respond as promptly as possible.
Beautiful. Definitely head over to YouTube, check out their the videos. Check them out on all major streaming platforms, and look for them coming through on a tour near you. Definitely a fantastic band. Straight out of Arizona. They definitely represent proper. We do love the vibe that ZeeCeeKeely brings here at Hippie-Fari Reggae Radio and Podcast. It's our style 100%. That's why we grabbed them on the show. Jack, thank you so much for coming on. I definitely appreciate it.
I had a blast.
Absolutely, man.
Appreciate you having me on, man. I always love getting into these conversations. So after
the new album comes out, if I can wait that long, would definitely love to have you back and discuss, some of the tracks, what you were thinking when you wrote them, what they're all about, just a little inside to the music that's coming out. Maybe when we drop the first single off the album, we can do something like a show around that or something. I don't know. That'd be great, man. Absolutely. Yeah, I love having, want to get in the rotation of having guests back. I feel like once you have a guest on, kind of broke the ice, guest comes back on, it's a lot more comfortable. You learn more about them, things like that. Yeah. So I just think it progressively gets better and better. So this is Scotty, the high-strung hippie, reminding you to speak your mind before someone else does it for you. Do something nice for someone today. Grab flowers for your partner, smoke out a stranger, tip the homeless man $1. Whatever you do, do it from the heart. All good things start from the heart. And this is City Lights from ZeeCeeKeely. Nice. All right, one love. If you like honey, and I know you do, check out Sunsplash Farms, www.sunsplashfarms.com. Based out of New Smyrna Beach, best honey you ever had in your life. 6 or 7 different flavors to choose from. They ship worldwide. Sunsplashfarms.com. Also, check out Love is Green 444 on Instagram. Raquel is a multifaceted healer specializing in quantum healing. Check her out on Instagram. Love is Green 444, and 90% of the healings can be done online. Also, check out 3littlebirdsbandcamp.com on Facebook and sign up to be a host so you can host touring reggae bands. That's THREE, Little Birds Bandcamp on Facebook.